What to do when your driver's license is suspended in Ontario? Very good question. I think one of the first things that I would need to determine is how, in fact, you arrived in that suspension. Because there are multiple avenues of how you could be in a position where your driver's license is suspended, and it's important to note that in order to figure out what can be done to help you. For example, if you forgot to pay a fine, you could be suspended. You could have been imposed a fine in court. You could have been given a fine at the roadside, and if that wasn't paid, then in fact you could be suspended. You could be in a court and given a fine, which you paid, but the court also said, by the way, your license is suspended for the next 6 months. That's another way of determining what we would need to do in order to help you. Medical suspensions, yet another facet of something that would need to be considered. How we would handle helping you with a situation like that would be very different. Demerit points in Ontario function in a couple of different ways. One is you have to be aware of the graduated licensing system of the novice drivers. They have a different threshold for the number of demerit points, and much lower, so they don't need to collect enough, too many demerit points to end up in a suspension. But how we would address that and help that particular client would be very different again. Things such as child support, non-payment of child support could push a license into suspension, and how we would address that ultimately different than the other avenues. Alcohol-related charges, warnings, roadside suspensions that may occur. Again, how those things are addressed and the length of those suspensions, there are lots of things that need to be considered. What I would suggest, because it is a complicated area, I would, it's a free consultation. I would consider approaching OTD Legal and asking those questions, and you'll be certainly asked some of the things that you've heard in this video so that we can determine how best to help you with that particular situation.